Welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze the soft-pure kerfuffles from a world not beyond. I'm your host, Lexi Old, author of Seven Secret Sources of Inspiration, a snappy guide for creative procrastinators. And joining me back once again, John Nash and EUGENE'S Robinson from Ozzy.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Want to Know About Asking But Afraid You Get Your Ass Kicked for Asking. Collectively, 2/3 of M.A. Pancholes. Although it seems like what is it for? Was it the Marx Brothers that had 4 Marx Brothers?
Yeah, they had, what was it, Zippo?
Well, they had 5.
The older brother quit, then the younger brother.
Well, there was Gummo and Zippo that most people didn't see. Yeah. There's Harpo, Chico, and Groucho. Yeah. But supposedly Gummo was the funniest one. You sometimes saw him as a straight man. Zippo, you saw not at all. No, there were 5.
Were there 3 Stooges? That's like a Shep. Who's Shep? Where is he from?
Yeah, Curly Joe, Shep. There's a bunch of
Shep. Yeah. Okay, there you go. All right,
Curly Joe Dorito.
All right. So speaking of curly,
short and curlies.
Other kind of show. Oh, there you go. That's right.
There you go.
That's why I got this show.
Yeah, that's right.
Eugene, you're Dana White.
Oh, the bald one. Yes.
What's all this talk, live and in public, if you will, about you? UFC's Bull of the Woods being Eskimo Brothers with Brendan Schaub.
I don't really know what you guys are talking about. I'm sorry, I was over here counting my money, and later on I'll be at home barbecuing with my wife and my children. My wife is such a wonderful woman. I dare say that I don't want to do anything to upset my wife. So if you don't mind, I'll just be stepping on out of the frame here and exiting stage left. As happened in reality, the man was very, very quiet. Post facto Schaubian blast, outer banks of Schwabonia. He did not deliver any return missives or salvos because he realized half of $340 million is not a figure I want to live with. So I keep my fucking mouth shut. No need to punch down. It doesn't fucking pay. That's what I do if I'm the bald one. On the other hand, there are a lot of things I do if I was a bald one, like stopping pointless fucking threats. Stop pointless fucking feuds. Do business. Now people can see what Schwab said, what I've been saying for the past 365 days, that Elvis has left the building. Why did this is like what makes Sammy run? I got a question for you, a query for the ages that doesn't need an answer. Why did Joe Silva quit? That's all you need to know. We're in the backseat of a car that's about to crash, and the bald one is about to crash. Stop fucking around with pennies. Pay attention to pounds and ignore the baubles and get to work. That's what I would advise a bald one to do.
You better work.
Yep.
What about you, Dana Nash?
First, as Dana White, first thing I do is I Google Eskimo brother.
He knows what it is.
And then I don't never use that because it's an offensive term to some people. So I never say that. But I would
then you could say Inuit brothers.
Yeah, I would if I was Dana White, I would not comment on it. I would get in touch with all my the Don Corleone friends in the media, as Eugene likes to bring up.
You might have friends. You might have friends at newspapers. They might like a story.
You contact them and you explain. Listen, I am not going to drag whoever this other person, that mysterious person we don't know, into the story because they don't deserve this. This is just nonsense that Schaub's saying, so I'm not going to talk about it. And I think it's beneath you guys to talk about it as well. And then hopefully the MMA media gets together and they don't talk about it and the story dies. And it just becomes another strange story, strange mythological Lorenzo Fertitta, tweeting someone in the middle of the night story.
He did one better. You do realize that he actually took our unspoken advice. Just shut up. Yeah. It's the best thing, man. At one point, this mafia enforcer was threatening to crack my skull open. I had made a quip during a time period when no quip needed to be made, and a guy picked up a 100-pound plate and was waving it like he was waving a dinner plate. And he said, "One more peep out of you, and I'll crack your fucking skull." And the temptation to go peep was really fucking high. But at that point, I realized the better part of valor was just keeping my mouth. Very easy to do. Up against getting my head cracked with a 100-pound plate.
You saw the scene in Goodfellas too many times. What? Just one more word. What?
No, that worked.
The sad thing is, you know, the whole feud started because Dana White was defending one of his fighters.
But he was defending the wrong one. They were talking about fucking Saki. Schaub was clearly talking about Saki, who got put down in like the first fucking 60 seconds of the round. He wasn't talking about Adesanya, Israel. I'm sure I'm massacring his last name. So, you know, there you go. I mean, this is a classic case of a pointless assertion of dominance, where if the guy had cooled his jets for 5 fucking minutes, he would have understood that they was talking about Saki. Are you trying to divert away from the fact that you backed the truck up for Saki and Saki was a bust? It's called investing in your business. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes everybody can't be a Teixeira. Teixeira had a big story behind him, came in, delivered. Saki did it. Oh, well, move on. You know, I guarantee you, Israel Adesanya did not think that anybody was talking about him. He was too busy blasting Anthony Kiedis, which I love him eternally for. I thought that was the guy from the Foo Fighters, which he said to his face, which makes me, I now could die a happy man.
Did you get a good look at his face?
I wish I had seen Kiedis' face when he goes like, oh shit, man, I'm a big fan of the Foo Fighters. And he was like, I wish it was like when I was at the 20th Hustler party and I got to fucking drop one on Tommy Lee. He had just put out Generation Swine. And I was like, man, I don't care what anybody says. That's a good record. I got this look in his face to see if I was fucking with him. But I really wasn't. And I really meant it. But I was just ham-handed and insensitive. And
so, Tommy Lee, if you're listening out there.
Go fuck yourself.
Well, speaking of fucking yourselves and sensitivities, John, you made Brendan Schaub and Dana White Eskimo Brothers. Do you need to set the record straight or stay in your goddamn igloo?
Oh, he's John? You just said he's John. He is John.
Yeah, I am the person. I'm the Eskimo brother, the person that made them Eskimo Brothers. Yes, they both slept with me at one point.
I see.
We don't know. I mean, that's maybe it is a guy. Maybe it's an inanimate object that is the Eskimo brother. We don't know. But my message to this person who is supposedly the third wheel in this love triangle, as Goddard said, you know, every good love story is a man, a woman, and another woman. So, or another man, I mean, so the fight. But whoever this third person is, my advice to him is come forward and talk about it, because then we got a lot to write and talk about. We need the hits. We need these hits. So come forward. But to give honest advice to him, I would say don't say anything. Just shut up and you tell you the truth, there's no reason they have to be dragged into it. They have no part in it. This seems to be a feud between Schaub and Dana White. They seem to have, in fact, the whole thing doesn't even seem to be over, you know, the UFC and their arguments about how Dana White runs UFC and how dumb Schaub can be at times. None of that. It seems that this feud might be personal based on this third person already to begin with. Like they instantly are just, everything they pick at each other is about this. So
juicy.
But it is so absolutely completely fucking retarded. I mean, this if I'm the third person in this trio, what this cements for me is that I've made some very serious bad life decisions. You know, now I see some women online have backed the third person, assuming the third person is a woman, Rhonda. I think they have backed Rhonda. And saying, well, you know, who cares who Rhonda sleeps with or Dana White sleeps with or who cares? Who cares? Well, maybe
Ixnay on the on to say we've been warned by Loretta Hunt that not to bring up names or we'll get sued.
Oh, Loretta, I really like Loretta Hunt, and she was done dirty by the bald one when she was banned from the fights. Which goes right away to show you that this is not a legitimate sporting venture or organization. When was the last time the NFL banned a journalist from the locker room? You want the access, you want the coverage, you want, whatever you can get. It's a medium. You serve us up to the public. So this idea that we've gotten into lately with information being something that people are afraid of, It is a prime fucking. It is one of the first people that the Nazis killed. It was a journalist, and he had done nothing but kind of sort of gently poke the bear, so to speak. And one day he hadn't come home. His wife was wondering where he is, and the mailman shows up. So there's a package for you, and she opens the package, and it's his broken and bloody glasses. It's like, man, that's what we call fucking overkill. My attitude is like these people with the fucking file sharing. Information should be free. Information should be free. Everybody talks about all the kind of lunatic right-wingers talk about First Amendment until you call them a nut juggler, and then they're upset. They're upset there's nothing wrong with nut juggling. There's nothing wrong with me calling you a nut juggler. Now, I'm speculating. Allegedly it is. I guess in America, if you have deep pockets, you can sue anybody you want for anything. But the reality of it is, you can even get a judgment against anybody. The reality of it is, you can't get blood out of a stone. Sue me for $1 million. What are you going to attach my fucking salary? I quit. I have no salary. I mean, the thing is, you can't be afraid. You just can't cower, tremble. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Why are we acting like we don't know? We know. This is not something, I didn't introduce this. I didn't create this. I didn't make Brendan Schaub send that. I didn't make the Baldwin send that. I didn't make them. It's happening in front of us. We're commentators. We're commentating on it.
Well, also, given the fact that like the comment came because Brendan made a comment about Dana White doing Rhonda's laundry. So he said Rhonda, and then the following message talking about Eskimo Brothers, like, what do people think?
I mean, you're a lawyer, right? So isn't slander and libel, aren't those about an intent to defame?
There's certain things.
How could sexual contact be intent to defame?
No, it depends. Well, you know what? To claim that someone, it depends. A state-by-state analysis, and in New York, for instance, claiming that someone is unchaste, right? But it's generally for virgins. The thing is that with a defamation case, truth is a defense. So she would have to prove that it actually is not true, that she did not have relations with. She had relations neither with Dana White nor with. I had relations with Brendan Schaub, but not Dana White. But if there's relations between the two, so that's why in terms of if it is her and she's had relations with the two of them, legally she doesn't really put herself in a good position.
Yeah.
And to sue anybody. If she'd never hooked up with Dana White, and look, and it's fucked up in the sense that like so many women, when they achieve certain things in industries that are dominated by men, people always try to say, oh, she fucked this dude and fucked that dude. So at the end of the day, I hope to God she didn't hook up with Dana White.
Yeah, but she also fucked up 9 opponents before she ran into a Holly Holmes. There's no way to take. I mean, the thing is,
right? Dana White was not in the ring. It didn't go to a decision, and she got cheated by the refs and the judges.
Yeah,
there was no.
I mean, these are this is a sensitivity about. I mean, I thought that's what the slut walk and things were like supposed to undo. It's a movement of like, it doesn't. If I have sex with 1,000 people, what is it? Is that character defining? Nope. All it means is I had sex with 1,000 people. It doesn't mean shit. So this idea, I mean, I understand she's been dealt with harshly and has a basis for being concerned about the oofsie, but otherwise, look, I'm not buying this, man. I'm not buying. I'll say whatever I want.
You're not buying what?
I'm not just buying this fear of information, the FOI. I don't feel like it. I just don't feel like it. I really don't feel like it. Go ahead, do what you like. People say, well, some guy was panicked. This guy Bellis on Twitter, Papa John. It starts with him, and it's gonna go to you. These liberal witch hunters. I go, fuck, man. What are you talking? You're just talking internet shit. It's just make believe internet stuff. There's no reality to any of that, And this whole Trump is sued over 4,000 people. That's the way he does business. His transactional way of doing business, and that's what he's done to this government and the tone and the timbre in America. People calling cops on fucking cats for playing basketball with him. I mean, it's like we've become so incredibly, weirdly, fucking ineffectually sensitive, and I just won't have it. I will not have it.
Well, then you're gonna have to have it.
What?
You're gonna have to have it for the next question because you're Stipe Miocic.
Mm-hmm.
Why is complaining your way to a rematch the best way to get a date with DC?
Okay, well, John goes, right?
No, it's you, man.
I go.
I already went.
Did you turn it off? All right, so what the premise is, I'm Stipe. Is this the best way to go about getting?
Why is it? You know, because you keep on complaining. Oh, this is how they run business. I don't want to be a part of it. Oh, that's terrible. I'm not gonna give me my fetch. So what I'm saying is, I'm assuming, Stipe, that with all the complaining you're engaging in to get a rematch, you're making the assumption that this is the best way to get a rematch with DC. I'm just trying to figure out why.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he's playing a dangerous game, and the game is premised on a March 2019 retirement date for DC. And he's like looking at the math, like clearly, if you're DC, it's better to have more fights than fewer fights, given the fact that you will then officially no longer be drawing a salary. You're retired, you're done. You know, being a coach at AKA is not going to pay nearly as much as fight. Well, whatever. Okay. So 6 months for Lesnar gets cleared. Unknown Johnny Boney Joni. So the worst thing in the world would be for you to fritter away your time licking your wounds or training or doing whatever the fuck you're doing when they hand you that plunger at the fire station, and then wake up, discover it's March 2019, and you got nothing on the books. The dude is going to retire, and you can't avenge his fucking loss. You got to be loud, you got to be vocal, and you got to do it now, and now is the exact right time. However, what is that thing they say about be careful what you wish for? If they were to give him a New Year's Eve rematch with DC, I'm sure he's considered it, maybe thinks it's worth the risk. What happens if he loses a fucking second time, which is highly likely, right? DC still retires in March. He's left like Harvey Keitel in The Duelist, wandering the landscape, realizing that, yeah, he might beat somebody else and get a belt, but he's not the legitimate champ because that guy retired. So from his point of view, he's got to do it, but it's a tough gotta, you know? I mean, he can't let the guy retire without getting another swipe at it. He's got to know. But if he loses a second time, then what does that do for the remaining 5 years of his fight life? How is he going to make up for that? They'll lure the guy out? No, you're done, man. You got to the moment and were found wanting. But he's got to know. He's got to know.
What about you, John?
Well, I think he's actually much more worried about his paycheck. I think he's going to be taking a big cut now he's no longer champ. He just got this new deal. He was upset about how much he was making, and he just got finally this brand new deal. And I guarantee
they finally did me right.
Yeah, I guarantee you that deal doesn't pay nearly as well if he's not champ. You can see almost every UFC fighter has a contract that stipulates they get a lot more money. Well, first you have to get to the level. When you get to challenger level and you start signing new contracts, they write contracts that pay you a lot more when you're the champ and you're not. So he's not getting the bonus pay-per-view points now that he doesn't hold the belt. He's not going to – his pay, that $750,000 base, is probably going to plummet to one-third that size, you know, maybe 150, 2 or something.
You mean if he fights anybody else?
Yeah, if he fights anybody else. But even if he fights the champion, but he wants partly is a pride thing, but the other thing he knows, he has to get the belt back to get his contract bumped up where he's making a couple million a fight. And now he's looking at it. He was super excited before that Brock Lesnar was possible. Remember before the fight, he's like, I'd fight Brock Lesnar. That'd be great. Now that he misses out on the Brock lottery, he's like, oh, that's terrible. Brock doesn't deserve a title shot. So that's a little hypocritical because he's up.
But I still say he's being motivated by March 2019. That's added pressure where there would be no pressure if he wasn't going to retire.
Yeah, well, I also think it's because he knows his next fight, if he doesn't get a rematch, is like a Curtis Blades, a really tough fight.
Yep.
That's not for a lot of money. And he's looking at it and going, wait, I'm looking at Cormier might fight at light heavyweight against Shogun Rua, then might fight Brock, and then John Jones is back, maybe going to heavyweight to fight Cormier. That's a lot of money fights I'm not getting. Cormier's getting, and I'm going to be sitting around waiting for my chance again, which means I got to fight tough guys and possibly lose and never get a shot. And then, you know, if I ever do get a shot again, Cormier might retire, so it might be 2 years before I ever get a shot at the title again.
And he also he knows, I think, the fact that being vocal and complaining has put him in a position where, you know, he's kind of fucked. It's like,
if I was him though, I can't believe he's not talking about the eye poke more. Even though I don't think the eye poke really, it was a bad eye poke, but I don't think it really impacted the fight. But that's your avenue. Like, come on, it was unfair. I had an eye poke and I still went out and fought. I got caught.
I don't know, man. That's
better than saying that Brock doesn't deserve the title. I mean, Brock obviously doesn't deserve a shot at the title.
Hey, John,
in real sport.
John, look what just came up on my Instagram.
What? Dude.
Nothing. I don't know if you can see it.
We're trying to keep the show clean.
I think the thing with Stipe is, the problem that I have.
Email me that. I'm making my screensaver.
I have nothing against. I know he's trying to get that fight, but I think one of the problems with his attempt to get the fight is, it's one thing to, again, go for what you're suggesting, John, which is like, the eye poke and questioning like the validity, creating a situation where there's a question as to, well, yeah, man, he did get the eye poke. Look at that. As opposed to, totally crapping and shitting on the way in which your company makes business, and talking about how you're not willing to play ball and how fucked up things are with it. And, I just refuse to acknowledge it. Is this what we're doing as a company? Like, at the end of the day, I think that's probably one of the least productive things to do.
If he had come out criticizing Brock earlier, he'd have some ground to stand on and say, listen, I was there. I wanted this to be 100% about who's the best. I said it before. I didn't want to fight Brock. I wanted to fight. If he said that before, but you can't suddenly flop because you're no longer the guy.
Of course. Whereas with the eye poke, if he's like, he's DC wants to fight Brock, he wants an easy payday. He's ducking me. He's talking about Shogun Hua. What the hell is going on? Yeah. I'm the champ. If he didn't poke me in the eye with so-and-so, he's trying to avoid this. Well, I can make adjustments, or I got caught. Yeah, I got caught in the first fight.
You know what? You know what? I say we're doing all this kind of deck chairing on the Titanic. What I'm saying
that's what the show's about.
Yeah, I know, but the truth will set you free in this instance. He will say, like, you and I both know. Look, I was looking at Quora. On Quora, somebody said, what are Brock's chances of beating DC? And people were like, are you fucking kidding? Are you fucking kidding? Like 0.0000. No fucking chance. Well, I don't agree with that. But the reality of it is, nobody really thinks that he's going to beat fucking DC. So it's a circus show, right? So if I'm Stipe, what I go is like, you guys, when you guys are interested in real fights with real fighters versus obvious blatant money grabs and stupid cheap seat shit, come to me, because I'm the only fucking game in town, realistically speaking. That's not Brock, though you might want to see him get beat. Who else is it? Is it Curtis Blades? Nobody gives a fuck about Curtis Blades. And then you strategically don't mention Johnny Boney Joni, and you lay it out like that. You guys can eat dog shit if you want, or you can eat the real deal. And I'm here. I'm here, baby. Waiting for that little fat man. Here I am to get my belt back.
What's interesting about the whole Brock thing is, well, first of all, I love the only reason I want to see him fight Cormier is because I am convinced you could go to a bar that night, walk around and make about $20 bets on people thinking Brock's going to kill him as soon as they get the cage.
Yes.
And I'll just be laughing I bet you Cormier slams him at some point. He's going to kill him so bad. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
Kirby Puckett's going to be beating the hell out of this guy, and no one will know what the hell's going on. But the Brock thing is, I don't think one thing a lot of fighters realize, everybody gets excited for Brock and all it's the showmanship. That's how they make their money. That's true. That's how the UFC makes money. But the idea that the UFC puts the most marketable guy in title shots and picks these guys, it actually hurts everybody like Stipe down because they don't have leverage. The UFC can pick and choose whoever's a big draw, throw them in and make a ton of money. The guys that are super talented, like Jacare, when he was at middleweight, he was cut out of the middleweight race for a long time.
Yep.
Because they're waiting for Bisping to fight GSP. A lot of fighters, the next tier down, I don't think they realize how much they're losing out by not demanding. I mean, we all want some fun fights, but the title, I think they should start demanding the fighters that the championship, the actual title, can only be fought between the best guys, at least within some sort of margin. You can move it around, a guy can move up in weight. But the idea that anybody can be moved into a fight for the championship, it really hurts your leverage because there's no point in being the number 2 fighter because no one cares if they skip you. You got to have a reason where everybody demands that you fight for the title. That's just my little rant on that marketing rant.
Yeah.
Well, what's your rant? Go ahead.
And so, what do you think that Stipe should do?
Not he's screwed. He has there's nothing he can do. So.
Yeah, I like that's why I came up with comparing him to Harvey Keitel. Anyway, when I look at the little pieces of my MMA fantasy league, any way he turns, he's fucked. Yep. He's really sort of fucked. You know?
I think you're right. I would lay the ground that I'm the best, and then you go, okay, I got to win one more fight, beat the crap out of someone, and say, listen, I'm still the best. I got robbed out of my last fight.
Yep.
I tapped, and Alistair felt it. That's what I would say at my next fight.
Yep.
There you go. Well, what are you going to say, John, about your Legion of Doom?
Well, I was going to put, I guess the mystery person was so mysterious. I thought that might be because this third wheel of the Inuit brother thing is like ripping apart the fabric of UFC and MMA. It's going to bring it all down. So I thought, well, that's kind of Machiavellian, but that's not really a supervillain. And it made me feel bad about, I feel a little bad about the state of MMA. So I thought I should go with a nice thing. Instead of a Legion of Doom member today, I thought, let's go with the super friend. And I thought the super friend today would be undefeated one championship fighter, who his name I'll try to pronounce, Pongsiri Mitsati.
Did you vote for him? There was recently a voting thing that went around for those guys.
There was a vote for him in an election?
No, for Asian MMA fighters.
Oh no, yeah, I didn't. I never vote on that stuff. Yeah. But he's in the super friends because he took part in the rescue of the soccer team that was trapped in the caves.
Oh my God.
So he was one of the volunteer group that assisted the Navy divers. So someone in MMA actually did something good. You don't have to go to like Bloody Elbow and see the guy that was arrested and charged with sexual assault. That's not on this week. You don't have to see all the other guys. You don't have to see Conor McGregor hanging out with Putin, calling him one of the greatest. None of that stuff. Today we're going with a guy that rescued kids from a cave. Finally, some good news. So he gets to join the super friends and hang out with Marvin and who are the other
Wendy
and Marvin.
That's right. And what was the dog's name?
Oh God, I can't remember.
Shit, I thought you were talking about Wendy and Lisa, like the Revolution. I'm sorry.
No, now we're talking about the Lost Battalion, Eugene. Who's in it?
You dropped out for a second there. You went totally black, but I'm guessing you said Lost Battalion. I'm going to do something novel here as well. And those of you who have watched the Showstopper, formerly Knuckle Up, know that there are a number of different classifications. And one of the first ones was the Phantom Toll Booth. And the Phantom Toll Booth was where typically the fighter, the average kind of monograph for a fighter in the Phantom Toll Booth is he's probably on a good day, it's a fighter in the rankings who's maybe number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got a pretty high number. He's sitting on an uncomfortable, splinter-strewn wooden bench, waiting for his number to be called. Right? This is a guy, like when I mention his name to you, you go like, oh, shit, yeah, that guy. You can't tell his record, but you have Dennis Bermudez, Phantom Toll Booth, Uncle Creepy, Ian McCall. Like you can almost forget their name, but you just remember their name. These are I've come to a large conclusion here. Like Lou Reed said in the song Heroin, I've made a very big decision that the Phantom Toll Booth is in the Lost Battalion. The reality of it is, given time, given interest, given motivation, direction, and institutional will, guys who could comfortably sit on that uncomfortable wooden bench with splinters up their asses and count on the fact that 350, 375 fighters deep, that somebody at the UFC would remember them, maybe put them on a card later down the road. If they were regional fighters, I'm English, there's a fight in England, I guarantee they're going to remember me. Those guys, this number I have on my little piece of paper is going to be pretty good. That is fucking done. I think the bald one has as much of an idea as to the 375 fighters on the fight roster as I do. Again, we go right back to, why did Joe Silva quit? Sean Shelby, also known as Keith, he probably has a pretty good idea of the 375 fighters on the thing. But that guy, just a guy trying to find a place out of the rain, a warm place to poop. That's what he's looking for. He's not actually moving these pieces He's not moving these pieces around the chessboard in any meaningful way. So if you were in the Phantom Toll booth and you think that little piece of paper is going to get you something, it's going to get you nothing. Because there were a bunch of those guys who filtered into this last fight, UFC Boise, a few of them that filtered in where you were like, oh yeah, shit, that guy. Oh yeah, hey, remember that guy? And that's what they gave you. They gave you Boise, and you were fucking happy to get it. What do you think is going to happen to Boise? Where is your 2019 going? You got that little piece of paper. You know what that is? It's toilet paper. You can use it to wipe your ass, use it to wipe your nose, but it's not getting you out of that fucking thing. They're not in the business of discovering new talent anymore, man. I don't know what they're doing, but whatever they used to do, they're not doing it. You know, you just can't. People made fun of Joe Silva getting his fight picks from the underground and, you know, like disguising himself and sticking his finger in there and trying to figure out. But at least he was paying attention. That was his job. He went to work. That's what he did. I don't think that's happening now, man. And I think if you're ranked number 13 or 14th, luck guides your picking, not the little fucking number on your little piece of paper. So that whole classification lost the tag.
Damn, man.
Joe Silva retired because he got a lot of money.
That's a simple way to understand it. That's a simple way. The guy could maybe, or he could say, I want to spend more time with my family. You ever hear politicians say that? Yeah, you heard them say that, right? I want to spend more time
after they lose.
Yeah. You ever believe it? Yeah, because I never believe it. You know, so Joe's got a lot of money. He's like, I'm rich, bitch. Well, you know what? Joe was probably rich about 10 years ago, man. So
yeah, but he got a big payout. He got a piece of the sale when they sold it, and so I think he's been waiting for that. And if you look at what's gone on since the lawsuit was filed, how they can't do a lot of the stuff they did before with their actions of what they were doing before, I think you know it's like this job's a lot harder now. Fuck this. I got a lot of money. I'm out of here.
Yep, that could be. That could be. But like I said about working for Larry Flint, man, the first question that everybody who was smart that Larry Flint asked when they started their workday was, how's Larry doing? Because we all lived in mortal terror of Larry fucking dying. Not because he was a nice guy, because, you know, I mean, he was an all right guy, but because everybody in his family who was going to inherit the business was 10 times, they were completely not who you'd want to take over your business. Not at all. So this is the kind of thing where, I've got 300. I already had this money before, 30 mil. I could stay, I could go. Lorenzo, Frank, where are you going? We're leaving. Okay. That's it, bro. Gotta go. Not staying around here. Nope. Or like people in the Trump administration are trying to figure out right now. Do I stay or do I go?
Do. Well, we like all you viewers out there. If there are moments for the show that you think belong in a real best of moments, hit us up. Make a notation in the comments. Let us know. Let us know timestamps for past episodes. Was it the time when Eugene flashed the Thug Rose image to John? Was it the time in which John?
That just happened, dude. You can't say something from this episode. That's obviously not one of the best.
Well, you know what? What the D-Man just said, he's raising a very interesting legal point, given that he's a lawyer. He goes, he says he wants me to direct it to John. Ask Nash how big of a star Rose would be if she had fucked Dana. Interesting question.
Oh man, why'd you put about that thought in my mind? Oh.
Well, the claim that he's trying to make is that, you know, just like with
that would never happen.
With all, I already got swooped
Not
on.
let that happen.
I got swooped on by Tim Sylvia with Amber, and then I later discovered that Amber was supposed to allegedly have slept with Dana, and I found that very depressing.
D-Man, you better apologize to Thug Rose.
Yeah. The thing is, what people are saying is, it's like, you know, if a student has sex with a teacher and they get an A, how legitimate is that A? Is it a real A? Don't know. Right?
Well, I knew someone who slept with a teacher and got C's, and she was like, "Fuck." She really felt bad. She didn't know what that was about. It's like, was it about her performance in class from the bed? Thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter, EUGENE'S Robinson, Lexi Old, Hey Not the Face. Facebook at MMA Pancholes.
Pancholes! Or on Instagram is Mr. Sleep 3.
Give us a thumbs up. Leave comments on YouTube. Eugene, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Right
Thank you,
below, click a thumbs up right there. Right there.
That's right. Subscribe to Nation on YouTube.com, YouTube, and MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Buy 7 secret sources of inspiration. Box with the Black Duke and Buñuel's Easy Way Out, wherever 5 music is sold. And listen to the Let It Roll podcast. And believe following this show. Be sure to check out our non-MMA show, The Shoes Fit. How they do that, Eugene?
Well, assuming that Nate set it up for us so it works, there's a link right below my finger that you click on to get to If the Shoes Fit. We'll be there 90 seconds from now. We have to log out and log back into the If the Shoes Fit studio. All you got to do is click the button and we'll see you in 90 seconds.
Click that button. We'll be back next week.
If no button, go to YouTube and then type in If the Shoes Fit and subscribe to If the Shoes Fit.
Exactamundo. We'll be back next week and then song If I Did It. We don't know what to talk about because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.
I forgot to pitch my fanfic where I'm Travis Bickle and Rose is Iris. So just want to get that out there.
Lovely.